Aloha and welcome. My name is Sergey. I'm the founder of ZenVizion. I used to live in Hawaii, so that's why aloha. It's a it's a habit that follows me for years. Anyways, this morning I decided to put together a very small but hopefully structural for you presentation about something that I wish somebody would have given me 10 years or 15 years ago. Uh, I lived part of my life in depression and not knowing what to do, not knowing where to search, and not knowing what to search for. Basically, I forgot that I forgot that I forgot. I was lost. And right now, I'm living the life of my dream. No, I'm just kidding. I'm getting there. I'm actually like 50% living my dream life. Uh, the place I'm broadcasting from is actually a place that I built about 1.5 years ago that I call the Light Forge, where I produce interesting stuff for my company, the Light Portals. But this is not the subject today. Uh, this is how the place looks like without the background. It's my workshop. So before I go with the presentation is about the purpose, the human purpose, the purpose in life, and it actually changed my life. So I'll try to be as structural as possible, and hopefully it'll be useful for some of you, especially for some of you who still don't know what the purpose is and how is it relevant to depressions, your life, your mood, your reality in general. So first, let me briefly introduce myself. I was born in USSR in 82. I'm 42 years old right now. When I was 15, my parents moved me, yeah, to Miami. My dad managed to do something very magical, make millions of dollars, and we moved to Miami, Florida, where we had a lot of apartments. My first car was BMW M3 convertible, and at the age of 15, uh, I had uh, everything, everything to the point that I did not know what to wish for on my 15th birthday. I'm sorry, 16th. I think there was 16th birthday. So I moved on 15. Yeah, 16th birthday. So in about 3 years, that was 1998. In 2001, when the real estate crisis came, my family lost everything. So I had to learn life from the beginning. I started drinking, I started smoking, and I started learning life from scratch. When I was 25, I read Carlos Castaneda, and I learned that there is something that is beyond physical, something that is called the soul, the spirit, and something that made me think deeper than the physical body. At 33, I had my spiritual crisis, the awakening. Of course, that didn't happen just by itself. I had my first mystical experience, so to speak. Yes. Then I got married at the same age. I moved to Maui, Hawaii, because I was looking for the most remote place on earth that would fit my inner state to research my consciousness from the beginning and to learn how to, walk from scratch. Um I found the thread of my purpose at that point, and why I'm why the thread, because I figured throughout the past 10 years that the purpose is actually unfolding. It's not just given to you like, this is your purpose, but you kind of unfold it throughout the years. But first you have to find that first thread in what direction you have to move. So and at the same age I founded the company ZenVizion. That was 2016. 35, my son was born. uh, at 36, I discovered Bali. And when I hit 40, I had my second major mystical experience that completely transformed my life. That mystical experience, that journey, I met with the creator. I got his blessing. I got the tasks that I had to do, but it was not the esoteric like everybody used to, you know, used to experience. Actually, I by that time I had not a single, but several, actually, a lot of journeying with plant medicines, and I figured out that you have to ground everything. Basically, you have to like ground what you are visioning. So that journey was grounded for me. And after the trip, I received $50,000 for the task that was entrusted or was granted or was advised. I don't know the correct word. It's just something that uh, I received a mission, what to do, and I received the finances for that mission, and that all that happened in the journey. So, uh, very shortly, the experience and skills that I possess. Husband, father. I've been real estate in Miami for like over 15 years. I used to be an Amazon employee. I used to work for Amazon for 1.5 years doing financial analysis, statistics, forecasting. Very interesting job, I would tell you. Project management, managed two city projects with a budget of $8 billion. I had my own restaurant business for 2 years. I did graphic design, website design. I did 3D modeling, engineering, electrical engineering, programming, C++, JavaScript. I did some software architecture. I've done in my recent 5 years theta healing. I've done very deep research into Ayurveda, into subtle bodies, into Hindu, into Buddhism, basically everything that is connected with researching your own self. And I've been Amazon seller for 5 years. That's actually one of the recent endeavors with ZenVision. I've been guiding people in their mystical journeys after my journey. So I've been a shaman and I've been a life coach for some time. Um, so let's get to purpose. It's a very interesting word, and a lot of people ask, uh, you know, at least I would be talking from my perspective, from my experience. So everything that you see here is exceptionally my experience. You might have different way, different paths, but the path that I'm putting here, it worked for me. So it took me 8 years. I'm gonna get to that later, but it took me about 8 years, extensive years, to find my purpose and to get to the point where I actually started living my dream and sit in that place where you see right now in the background. It's actually a workshop that I built in the last 1.5 years. So, uh, the first question is why people are searching for purpose. We're gonna cover that. This is first a summary. Then the second very important question is what is purpose. The third question is how. The reason I'm putting this like this is because I would love for somebody to put it the same way for me. Why, what, how? Well, somebody would ask why would you put why in the first place, not the what, but why is actually foundational, because without the why, you wouldn't need the what. You see, it's kind of funny. So you have to first ignite the understanding why you need the purpose. So let's get to why. Well, first of all, I'll go through my experience and what people, some people, some of my friends had in their minds. So, general population. Well, purpose is very often it's associated with happiness. So, when you fulfilling your purpose, you feel happy, you feel that a sense of belonging, you feel that you matter to something, you feel that you matter to the universe, or you matter to something higher than yourself. So basically it feels good. uh the second why, have you ever not been doing something for over, let's say, a week. I mean, literally not just like sitting all day long. Uh, I've been actually practicing that, and it was one of the best ways, I think, for me to experience the reason why I need purpose. For me, it was 2 months, and I would recommend, if you don't know how to kind of ignite your desire to find something useful to do, try not to do something, anything actually, for like at least 1 week, several days. If 1 week is enough, not enough, I mean, do it for couple weeks. Basically, boredom or not doing anything is actually the hardest job. Seriously, I've done that. I've tried that. It's not fun. And you would go in the first days of not doing anything, you would notice how crazy your brain is, how many thoughts you have, and that, the chaos going inside of your mind is actually requiring for the body to be useful, to be productive, to play, to enjoy this reality. And then the next question, of course, you ask is, why should I, what should I do? Why should I do this? And, the reason to move the body is actually a very interesting, deep question. And it's the question that makes a lot of people wake up or not wake up in the morning easily. Next, why? Well, most of you that thought deep enough have noticed that life is actually, it's just it's a lot of interconnected serial choices. Uh, so even to say something or to move your body, you actually have to choose why you move it. You see, we are given what's called a catalyst. So we won't be lazy by default. And the catalyst is the physical body, which requires food and shelter, survival. So imagine if we wouldn't have food or shelter or survival, some people would actually try and not do anything for months and weeks and years, and the human uh, civilization would not exist. So the catalyst is to start moving the body, but those are the so-called animal instincts m- that initiate the body movements, that the thought movements, and the tongue, the talking to other people. Uh, so you need purpose if you want to control your body, control your thought, control your tongue, uh, without involvement of the animal instincts. So without purpose, nothing is connected or united by something. Purpose is like a, like a core. And if you're not moving from purpose, you're moving only on your animal instincts without the meaning. So your only meaning would be to eat, sleep, and have shelter, which is, animal instincts. Uh, Another thing why people like the purpose, for those of you that have a basic understanding of purpose, let's say a goal, when you're moving in the flow, like some people that surf can say, you can moving with the wave, it just feels good. And you're moving with the wind, you're moving, you're not moving against it, something is helping you. So when you're moving with your purpose, life is actually, everything around you, it helps you. And this is not just words. I've actually experimented with this. I'm a very technical person, and I've been very technical person when working for a lot of, you know very interesting companies and projects. And then when the spiritual awakening happened to me, I've been connecting the technicalities with the spirit and trying to make very easy explanations of the spirit and soul terms, kind of converted into a modern language. So it feels good. Purpose feels good. So my experience showed me that when you're moving with the flow, something outside of some people call it luck, but the universe starts helping you, and it's not just luck. You actually start to observing the pattern when you move with the flow, when you fulfill your purpose. The universe helps you. Seriously, I've been on both sides, and the second side with the flow feels much better. So next, the what. So what is the purpose? Some people call it mission, some people call it destiny, some people call it higher task, something that was granted by God, by higher force, by creator, something sacred and divine. uh, Before we go on, I wanted to set fundamental assumptions, because without them, a lot of things don't make sense. A lot of questions or theories, they have to be based on something that is not uh, provable or visible first. So the first fundamental assumption is that the higher force that created this world, there is a higher force, basically. There is a God, creator, builder, invisible architect, infinite intelligence. Some people call it intelligent affinity. There is a bunch of names, you call it whatever you want, but without this fundamental assumption, uh, the architecture of the world, of it doesn't make, you cannot make it whole, you cannot make it unique, understandable. You cannot create the concept in your mind that would make sense. So you have to create something in your mind which is God, creator, builder, that actually created what you don't know. So if you don't know what created the world, you basically call it God, or you call it creator. I like to call it creator. Next, life is but a journey within a larger journey, the purpose of which is the evolution of the soul. So that assumption, in essence, adds the understanding that we are not finite in this body. Basically, that when we die, something is remembered. We have something that is carried to other, let's say, vessel, which is the soul. And then with that experience, it goes into another body, into another experience. And that journey can repeat itself throughout tens and hundreds of lives, and the final purpose is the evolution of the soul. Some people call it uniting, being one, uniting with the God, uniting with the infinite universal mind, whatever you call it. But basically the assumption is that we have to perfect ourselves, we have to move towards something that makes us better, that makes our universe better, that makes our feeling better. So we have to move in the upward direction, how you call it. We have to move forward. The third assumption is everything in this creation is created with a purpose and according to master plan. So imagine the opposite to this, that everything is created just for the hell of it, just you know without the purpose. Well, let me tell you something. If you have understanding of nature patterns and structures, you know that there are patterns in nature which are manifested in forms of mathematical proportion, mathematical numbers, Fibonacci, and this is actually part of the sacred geometry. That's the way they call it. That's how the term was coined in 1995. It's actually sacred geometry is just natural, something natural that repeats itself and has a pattern. So if you are observant enough, you would notice that a lot of things in nature have a pattern. So that makes you have the assumption that the creation has an architecture. So, that's the master plan. Moving on. So, life is a choice. We've already been here. Moving your thought, tone, body is a choice. Without purpose, nothing is connected to united or something by something. Life has no meaning. So the what? So the purpose is something that is given to us, something from above. Without purpose, human is driven by basic animal-like survival instincts. I mean, that's pretty basic. I mean, you can notice this in uneducated people that don't have purpose. They actually move like, they live like animal like, based on animal like instincts. So the technical stuff about the what, I'm very technical, so let's break it down. So the purpose can be called as inherent qualities, the talents. So everybody is born with talents. Everybody, literally. I mean, the fact that you might not know about your talents doesn't mean that you don't have them. And based on my experience and observations throughout the last 10 years, I can tell you that most people think and have assumption that everybody is born the same way as they are. And this is the basic assumption of people that still don't know that there is something invisible that has more control over your life than actually the visible part. So inherent qualities and talents, they're actually divided into two parts. There are inherent qualities that you receive as skills that run in your family, in your clan, whatever you call it. So your physical body, as a DNA that is, coming from your mom, from your dad, and in your generation, in your family, you have some some basic traits that you're very good at. Let's say you're big, or you run good, or you breathe good. You think good because you've had a lot of mathematicians, or like people that think a lot, so they develop the brain throughout the family tree, and then you get those skills because this is transferred in the DNA. This is the first part. The second part is this DNA of the soul. It's the inherent character traits and preferences. For example, let me give you a very interesting example from Buddhism. You know how they find um, what's it called? What's the name of that? In Buddhism, the guy that is reborn, and then they find him. You know the movie when they give to the child the three things, and the child picks out of three things the one that belonged to uh, him in a previous life. So I wouldn't be telling you this if I didn't have a child, or if my brother didn't have three kids. Kids have character traits, preferences, which are not part of the physical DNA. I'm telling you. And those of you that have kids, you know that when the child is born, even before you teach him anything, they have character. And that character is actually uh, the soul, the soul part, the invisible part that has that is actually directing your life, that has control over your life much more than you think. And a lot of people, we're gonna get to that later. So the technical thing is that your purpose is it's made of uh, physical DNA and your soul DNA, and uh, when you combine when you harmonize these two DNAs, when they're in resonance, uh, that's when you start to actually uh, live life to the fullest. You start being happy because both of your bodies, because soul is a subtle body, and physical body is physical body, and both of your bodies are actually doing fulfilling the function that they were born with or they have built in, so they don't have to apply extra effort to do something that they don't have already inside of them. So that's very important. The resonance of two bodies actually gives you the full potential of of blossoming your life. The how, the how is very interesting, and that took me years. So I'll try to relay that in as understandable way as possible, but that how it worked for me. And then I noticed that that how is actually working for a lot of people, a lot of happy people, people that give to our civilization, kind people, people that invest into evolution, I would say. So first of all, the how. First, you gotta have the desire. You gotta want to find your purpose. If you don't want to, nothing works. Your desire drives you. Your desire to go to toilet drives you. It's animal. If you already above your animal instincts, desires, you start asking questions. You start asking first basic questions, then you come to spiritual questions, and that's when the spiritual crisis happens, because sooner or later you start asking questions: who you are, what is that around you, and why are you here, and that brings you to purpose. Basically, it's pretty easy. The second one, the how, is you have to learn how to feel. You see, the property of the soul is actually feeling. uh, Emotions are short-term experiences that allow you to feel the depth, the the sweetness, that of life. But the feelings are something that are stable. And uh, they are the purest property of the soul. So if you cannot feel, if you don't know what you feel, you disconnect it from your soul. So to find the purpose, which is actually a big part. I mean, when you're in physical, you can find out about your grandfather, grandmother, grandfather. You can find about your parents, what their qualities are. But to feel your soul, to find your DNA of the soul, you actually have to feel your soul. That's the second how. The third how, there's no way you're gonna find your purpose if you don't know that there is something called spirit, and the main property of the spirit is to uh, manifest things in this reality, which actually allow your soul to manifest itself through the spirit. So spirit is very important. If there is no spirit, you cannot manifest things, you cannot give yourself feedback, so you're not going to be able to find your purpose. Spirit is like, we're going to get to that just in a bit more, in more detail. And the number four of the how is the unity. Unity is the critical part. Once you learn the four, I mean, I'm sorry, the three: the physical body, the soul, and the spirit, their properties and their functions, then you have to know how to unite them, because it's very common in our world, uh, moving only on spirit or only on soul. Let me give you basic examples. The soul, it's the body, the subtle body that likes to create, to play. It's very creative. Imagine a person who likes to create, and there's a lot of such people that go on Etsy or crafters, and they start creating stuff, and they don't have spirit. So they have soul, they're very kind, they like to create, they're very creative, but without the spirit, they're not capable of moving forward in life. So uh, eventually they're gonna give up. they're gonna start creating, they're gonna start manifesting their soul. But if there is no spirit, if there is no power charge that can manifest those desires, uh, they're gonna give up and their soul is gonna suffer. Let me give you another example with the spirit. If people have spirit but they don't have soul, those are people, Scrooge McDuck, the cartoon. They can manifest stuff. Manifesting, it means creating stuff, big stuff. They can generate a lot of money, but those people might be very unhappy. In fact, I had clients that have a lot of money, but they're unhappy. And money, actually, it's very interesting. It solves 95% of the problems, but you see the 5% of the problems that you're left with when you get to financial freedom, it becomes the 100%. So if the person has strong spirit, but he doesn't hear his soul, he's gonna get to financial freedom. He's gonna get all the pleasures in his life, but he's gonna suffer in those moments when he's alone. And those moments are actually the main moments in life. You meet with your friends, you come from the restaurant, you finish doing whatever you're doing, and then you get this 1 or 2, 5 minutes or 30 minutes of just free time. And that's when your soul starts to knock, knock, knock. And I call that, during my time, I called that the void, the inner void that I didn't know back then that it was the soul. So I had I had millionaires that jumped from the windows, that did suicide when I was in Miami, and I was working with some of them. So if you don't unite, it's suffering either way. So soul without spirit it leads to suffering. Spirit without soul, it leads to suffering. Now the third combination, if you don't know how to use your body, which is the vessel for the spirit and the soul, it's gonna bring to suffering as well. So we're gonna cover that in more detail later on. So the desire. First, we're gonna cover the how. The first how is the desire, the wish. And as I mentioned before, it usually comes with a spiritual crisis. Uh, Hopefully for some people it will come before they make their first million, or they make a lot of money, because the sooner it comes, the sooner you realize that you gotta be in balance. Because if you reach your first million without the soul, sometimes it's going to be very hard to look beyond the finances and to actually open your soul. And it's been a common problem for a lot of wealthy people nowadays. They've reached their financial freedom in their 30s. Then they've lived for like 2, 3, 5 years, because time becomes much faster when you have money. You can afford anything. I've been there. You can cover all your wishes, you can fulfill all your desires within 3 months, half a year maximum. Seriously. Then what? So uh the financial freedom check. See, the financial freedom check means that you have fulfilled your financial freedom desire. And that's when you realize that you want something, you want to find out what's beyond the freedom. How do I cover those 5%? What do I do? Losing sense of being. Losing sense of being is a very common problem nowadays. People, well, I would say half of my friends, uh, they don't know, they don't feel, they have no idea what they exist for. I mean, they just have a habit. They have a program that is running, and every week, every month, they're getting the paycheck. We're going back and forth. We're going back and forth. Restaurants, you know, then family, and it's a loop. So sense of being, they're not sure. They don't know what they're being for. Then the purpose is the desire is activated through serious illnesses. I had mm, I had a couple of friends that went through this. Plus, I know from my own self that when you get sick, you start thinking about, let's say, higher, higher stuff. You know, death of a loved ones. It's a big thing, and a lot of people also start pondering about what is, if somebody dies from the family, they start thinking that I'm next. So here is my turn. And if you envision yourself on a deathbed, it is actually one of the best hacks that I've used, and that a lot of people with money use. Is imagine yourself on a deathbed and ask yourself a question: what would I have changed? Have I really lived the happy life? And what is the reason? You start seeing the material things as uh, those that don't really uh, make the journey. They're just tools. But uh, we come here naked and we leave this world naked. So death is a good advisor. Life doesn't work after trying everything. It's kind of been happening to me. I tried everything and nothing worked. So I started asking questions at some point in my life. What's wrong? Uh, Next, learn to feel. Learn to feel of the how. Uh, you have to understand that first, feeling is the soul. So if you don't feel, you don't talk to your soul. So you're disconnected from your very wise advisor, and the advisor that actually got you into that body with the reason, f- with a purpose and for some reason. So if you were put into the body to play a role of a, I don't know, race driver or a taxi driver or a doctor, but instead you go and you are a lawyer or you're something else, your soul is not going to be happy, first of all, and second of all, you're going to be going against your DNA, because when you're choosing your vessel, you're choosing the vessel which is appropriate for the fulfillment of the purpose of the lessons. It's very logical. Everything is very logical and actually very easy once you start pondering around and questioning the basic laws of universe, and then you start testing them, and you will start noticing that things work in a very simple way. It's just that you have to start asking questions, and sometimes people start asking questions when it is, well, not too late, but after a lot of suffering, a lot of unhappiness. They start first asking question of, how do I become happy? I'm unhappy, I'm depressed, what, I have feel resentment, blah blah. I mean, it's a very common questions, but they lead you actually to start asking the right questions. So soul is a big part of your journey. So it's better to learn to hear and it and talk to it through feeling. Your feelings is your soul. Second, get rid of noise. uh, a lot of young generation don't understand that the informational pollution is the same as the physical. Basically, you go to a bathroom, right? You go to bathroom and you clean your body, you brush your teeth. The same thing is with the brain. You have to learn to clean your brain from informational garbage. You Because if you don't, it's gonna lead to mental illnesses, which then is gonna transform onto a physical body, to organs. I mean, first, you gotta understand that invisible affects your life much in a much greater way than visible. So the way you think transforms into the way you feel, the way you act, and that in turn, it creates your reality. There is such things as informational entities. I mean, some people call them egregores, informational entities. In Hindu, I'm sorry, not in Hindu, in Tibet or in other cultures, they call them demons, that can actually control big masses of people. Like some control millions, some control thousands of them, and they're not visible. They don't live in this reality. The thing is that to live in this dimension, you have to live in the form of physical body. But those entities actually, they live in another informational dimension, and that's more than enough for them, because they if you have a body that you can control, you don't need your own body. You can just literally control somebody else's body or control several bodies. Some people call them programs, and uh, where some people are born with these programs. They're actually, some of them transferred through generations. So we have to uh, personal experience. I had to get rid of noise, a lot of noise, to actually start feeling my soul. Because the thing is that when we are born, we can feel our soul pretty easily. The kids can feel their soul, but then it's like this pollution. It creates this like a field around you. And imagine when you're looking at the sky from inside of the city, you cannot see the stars because it's called light pollution. The same thing happens to us. The soul, the feeling, the signals, they're always there. It's just that we block them ourselves with our programs, with our resentments, with our childhood traumas, with our dramas, with our like preset programs like this. We make foundational assumptions, and upon those assumptions we build our world, and that's how we block ourselves. We put ourselves in a cell, and we cannot hear our soul from that cell. So uh, we have to first get rid of the all the noise, being a learn to be without the noise, and to start hearing the soul. You don't have to learn to hear it, you just have to turn to shut down the noise. My personal experience, and that's not only me, it's a lot of people that are on a spiritual path and with a spiritual crisis. That's how they deal with this thing. Quiet the mind, they call it. you know it's pretty easy. So once you quiet your mind, you start hearing your soul. Of course, you have to learn to hear it, but you won't be able to hear the music if you first don't shut down the noise that prevents you from hearing the music. There are some tools that can help you to quiet the mind. And one of the easy ones, I know some of you might be surprised, but you have to stress your body. It's a very easy term, because the body needs stress. And when you don't stress your body stresses you literally. Basically, all the stress that you accumulate without doing like jogging, sports, all that stress goes inside of your brain. This is one of the easiest steps. This is a tool, I know. So whatever you can use gym, run, yoga, a morning exercising routine. This is all very helpful, and these things make a big difference. Next, meditation. uh I know lots of you don't. Actually, I think nowadays a lot of people meditate, but the thing is that you have to meditate. That's another tool that requires getting acquainted to. I mean, it's not just that you close your eyes and you meditate. There is like a bunch of techniques and thought patterns, images that you can use to meditate correctly. It's not just you close your eyes and that's it. You have to observe your breath. You can do, you know, quite a lot of stuff in meditation, and it's not just sitting in one place and with closed eyes and then going through your brain programs and your fears or your task list what to do for tomorrow. Meditation is about another thing, but this is a tool, so I'm not going to cover it today, but this is a very powerful tool. Next tool is the uh, attention. Everybody knows that attention is the energy. I mean, attention is you. You know, if you take your own self from one body and you put yourself into another body, imagine you don't you don't care what the body is. I mean, as long as it's functional, but with your attention, you will be able to control the body, another body. So your attention is equals you. So you have to in on a basic on in essence you have to learn to work with your attention, and once you learn how to focus your attention, that keep attention focus, you can progress in a much faster manner. You can actually, like with a laser, you can point your attention and learn to feel in another different way. uh, Keep one of the first basic methods of working with attention is to actually learn to keep its focus. So imagine you have a laser, but like with a magnifying glass, you have to keep your laser focused. You have to keep it stable. You have to be able to sit through like 40 or forget about 40, about 7 minutes of focused attention, 10 minutes of focused attention to actually get to the aha moment, to get the insight. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to progress effectively. So keep attention. Learning how to keep the focus is number one thing. And uh, a lot of people don't know that there are methods how you can train your focus, and one of the powerful methods is the nature beauty dynamics. For example, if you go and observe the ocean, or you observe the moving nature, observing the trees, you observe the fire. Fire is a very powerful object of meditation. Or you observe something that is very beautiful and dynamic at the same time. That way, you don't have to uh, apply effort in the beginning, but the dynamism of things allows you to for your attention to be attached to something, and you don't have you basically your attention won't go back into your brain. You will be in the moment, which is pretty much the main point of learning how to focus attention, not to be inside of the brain but to be outside, to be in the moment, to be in the senses rather than in the brain. If you want later to learn how to feel that attention, you point it inside. That's how you use contemplation and introspection. And these terms might look similar, but they are a little bit different. And I'm gonna cover it here. Uh, you know what? Let me switch presenter overlay off. Sorry, I should have done that before. Purpose, the how, the contemplation, introspection. Contemplation, introspection are both practices that involve thinking deeply about something, but they differ in their focus. So, contemplation involves quiet, serious thinking about something, often to both better understand it. It can involve spending time alone in contemplation or engaging in philosophical or intellectual pursuits. Introspection involves examining one's own conscious thoughts and feelings. It can be a form of self-reflection that helps people understand their feelings and behaviors and how to cope with life's challenges. Some situations that might lead to contemplation include contemplation. That means serious thinking about something. So people start thinking seriously about something when there is something major happening in their life. There is difficult decision, a moral dilemma. There is a significant accomplishment or failure. There is a change in perspective or worldview. Loss of a loved one or traumatic event. I've already covered that. And some people just uh, get the desire for personal growth without anything bad happening. They just realize that they, you know what, let me let me grow, and they start digging. They start going into spiritual realm. Origins of contemplation introspection. Just fast definitions. The word contemplate comes from Latin word temple, originally referred to thinking in a special space set aside for observation. In Latin, the word templum means a building of worship or a piece of land consecrated for taking spices. Uh, and introspection, the term introspection literally means looking within. So, intro, you look within. From Latin words spicere, meaning to look, and intra, meaning within. So, next, number three of the how. We have to learn how to manifest. This is very, it's not the secret book that you watched. I mean, this is kind of different manifestation. Manifest is means to learn to work with your spirit. As I mentioned before, the property of the spirit is, the main property is to manifest physical stuff in this reality. And to learn to manifest, first of all, you have to understand that uh, everything is dynamic and changing. So if you got used to comfort zone, you're not gonna get anywhere. A lot of people are looking for a comfort zone all their life, and they're like, "Oh, let me get to that comfort zone." But in fact, uh, life is always changing. So the misconception is coming to a conclusion where you think that you get to comfort zone and then you will start your life. Mm-mm. It's not going to work that way. Experience and people with a lot of money and happy, they're saying the same thing. It's not just me alone. I've checked a lot of things that I have experienced, but I'm just relaying that in my own terms. But a lot of the things that I'm trying to relate to you, they are, they've been told by many people in other different ways. Fear. Uh, fear is actually programs. You know that spirit does not have a property of the fear. So if there is a fear of something, that means that somebody inside of you has a fear. Some people call them demons. Some people think that they come from traumas. And in fact, your fears are the doorways into your inner self. If you're afraid of height, if you're afraid of spiders, if you're afraid of snakes, those are the keys that are showing you. They will lead you to exploration of your inner self and to to your evolution. So if you have conscious fears of something, go, jump into them, walk into them. In fact, the book of Carlos Castaneda describes that in a very detailed approach. Um, do what you feel, not what you think. That's one of the main things how you can learn to manifest, learn to manifest your spirit, because when you start living in a new dimension of the soul, you have to learn to walk the path of your heart, not of your brain. Basically, the brain is just the tool that is given to us to execute tasks. And I think I'll get to that later, but the brain is like a general that is in charge, or army commander that is in charge of the tactics, but the strategy comes from the soul. So do what you feel, not what you think. Think when you set a plan, like set a plan based on your feelings, and then execute it. And that's when you use your brain. Love the challenge. I mean, love the challenge is pretty much the same as the comfort zone. So don't get used to not loving the challenge. I mean, it's life. Everything is changing. So eventually, you're gonna understand that challenge is something that brings you to growth. You get used to it, and once you realize that you love the challenge, your life is gonna transform in a different way. I mean, it's gonna be much more enjoyable, because every path in your life, it's unpredictable. Startups are unpredictable, life, the whole thing is unpredictable, nature is unpredictable. You're not going to be able to live life happily if you don't live challenge is something that makes us alive. So next one is bravery. Challenge is get used to being brave. If not brave, if you're afraid, it's kind of a summary, but those are the things that I've been observing throughout my journey, and I'm putting them on here in the presentation just so it'll be kind of more clear. The keywords, somebody might call them the different way, but for me it was, the way I'm telling you right now. Don't be afraid of mistakes. That's kind of self-explanatory too. That's how we learn, through trying, not theorizing. Mistakes happen when you do things. When you don't do anything, there are no mistakes. And when you don't do anything, there is no evolution. There is no experience. So don't be afraid of mistakes. That's especially important for people that have kids, and uh, yell at them when kids make mistakes. Encourage doing, and don't disallow your kids to learn on their mistakes. And that's actually relevant to you, to us, when we start going into spiritual realm and talking to our soul. We all realize that we are all big kids. So inside, soul is a child. Time, learn to manifest. uh, in order to be effective manifester, you have to realize that everybody has 24 hours. You have 24 hours, I have 24 hours, and actually 24 hours is the cycle of our solar system. But you have another time zone, so to speak. uh, if we call the solar system as a logos, the brain time that we have is a sub logos. So our brain time, our frequency, creates a relevant time for us, and we can actually play with that time very very effectively, using different techniques. And the way we manage our internal time of the sublogos, the frequencies of the brain, it gives us more time in our life. So don't be discouraged by the fact that we have 24 hours. You can increase your time. I think I'm gonna talk about that a little bit later. There are several techniques that I use not only by myself, but a lot of very wealthy and happy people. Uh, the number four, the unity of the physical body, the soul and the spirit. Um, Basically, all systems have to be ready, have to be in place for the purpose to start giving you fruits. First of all, for the unity, you have to love your body. You have to realize that your body is the one that houses the spirit and the soul. This is your temple, your universe for this life. Uh, this is your main vehicle. You have to prepare your body. Prepare your body means you have to first understand that your body, what your body feels is actually how your soul gets its experience. It's for the it accumulates. The soul is it's a vessel. Your body is a vessel, but the body is the actor which acts and fills your soul with experiences. And at the same time, your body, it's forges. It's a vessel that forges the spirit. Uh, to prepare your body, first of all, you have to live from your heart. This is not just words. This is like understanding that when you live, the expression of living from your heart is actually hearing your soul and being connected with your soul, with your higher, more intelligent, more wise body that is capable of giving you a lot of stuff that you dream about, but only if you realize that you have a soul, you start hearing it and you start to interact with it. uh okay, yeah, that's why we got to that point where I want to tell soul is a strategy, brain is tactics, task management. So imagine your soul puts you here in the first place. It's giving you the body to be happy, to fulfill certain things that will satisfy the soul. And when you are giving the body, you have a brain, you have a mind that is, this thing, the big brain. So the brain is actually the tactics. Don't live from your brain. It's literally the task management system like in a computer. So your life path, your big life path in like big capital letters, it has to be, it's most effective when it's walked from your soul. That's the way it's made. Experience, if you have another experience, tell me. But I'm just trying to get it to get the general structured idea of my life experience. uh the second part of the preparing your body is keep your vehicle in good condition. I think that's pretty understandable. Maybe not, but I'm still gonna go into detail because for me it was not understandable. It took me more than 5 years to get this imprinted into my brain. It and keeping your vehicle in good condition means that you have to realize that your body cannot house a great spirit which is capable of fulfilling all your soul desires if your body is not ready. So simple things, simple as hell. I mean, physical exercising, right? Habits, sleep, food, learn. uh, as I figured out through life, there are four major things. The energy that your body receives, it receives from four sources, different kinds of energy. So first kind of energy is the basic one. Since your body moves, energetically, you actually move stuff, move around. You have to rest your body. So sleep is number one energy source. And a lot of millionaires, billionaires, I'm sorry, not millionaire, billionaires, they are thinking the same way as I'm telling you right now. And the thing about the sleeping is not how early you wake up, but how consistently you can make yourself go to bed early. uh, I think Tom Billy says it in a very nice way. He says uh, it should be a religion to go to bed early. Some people go to bed 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I set a system where I go to bed from 7 to 9, and I wake up from 3:30, and no later than 5 o'clock in the morning. It might be different for women, as I've read that women they wake up more harmonically with the sunrise. But for men, for example, the perfect timing for wake up is about 2.5 hours before the sunrise. This is when your brain is very active. When you wake up and you prioritize things correctly, and you start doing the thing that is the most important in your life in the morning, you're working on X10 fuel, and that's where your time is actually, it becomes like a black hole. Like it warps the universe. You can warp your time, and you can be, do things that you know you think that you cannot do them like in a week, but you can do them in one day when you start the day early. And your brain speed is different, your output is different, the way you think is different. So you wake up early, charged, energized, and you start doing things that you think are very important in your life. And it's very important to keep it consistent. A lot of people think that they wake up early 1 or 2 days. Now this should be a lifestyle. That's why the habits is very important. And if you ask any wealthy man, she will tell you that habits is number one thing in life that makes a difference, that makes life happy, because you have to condition your physical body to actually do things that give you energy. Second one is food. I'm sorry, the food is actually in the third place. Second one is exercise. uh, Exercise is control of your body. How to put it correctly? uh, Let me give you examples. I mean, a lot of people might not be exercising, but exercising is actually starting your body from the outside. I mean, you can start your body from the inside, like motivate you from the inside. But if your body is not does not have motivation, or like your brain is not thinking straight, you have to just make yourself move, literally. Like, first, if you don't know how to move, just start shaking. Then you start jumping. Then you start running. That's why jogging in the mornings, like I do every day, jogging in the morning, like literally every day. This is the most effective techniques. And when you do jogging, there are three hormones that are secreted from your glands in your body, including cannabinoids. I think the ones that give you, happiness. There is something else. Well, you can Google it, what jogging does, but this is the easiest thing, the easiest habit that you can pick up if you don't know how to get your life started. So sleep, exercise second. Third is food. Once you get your schedule stabilized, it's always recommended to consume food on a regular during the regular hours on a consistent basis, because otherwise you like sabotaging yourself. So for me, for example, I eat 2 times a day. I have breakfast and I have lunch. I don't have dinner. If I'm hungry at like at dinner time, which is not so often, I just eat some like couple fruits, or like very something very light, but not hard food. But that barely happens. If you condition your body to stable food consumption, you will notice how much energy you have. For example, for men, your energy is infinite. I mean, when you put this all these things into a system, you sleep good, you exercise, you eat good. You will realize that sometimes you don't know what to do. It's like you got so much time, you got so much energy, and that's when the learning comes into place. Number four, you have to condition yourself uh, into a habit of learning. It's a good habit, and this has been a big problem in our society with the learning. For example, people that finish school, university, they're so happy to be done with learning because the way that a lot of educational facilities, institutes do is they how it's how should I well, basically people after learning, spending time in school, they don't want to come back into learning, so they associate learning with something very bad, something unpleasant, something like a torture. I have to learn this, then I come, then I some people even have traumas. They give me bad grades. That grade actually makes my life, and if I don't get very good grade, I have to stress out. Man, I hate learning. I hate learning. So by the time they finish school, they finish college, it's like, thank God I'm finished with that shit. Thank God I don't have to learn anymore to study. I'll go find a job and just make my money and make a living, and that's it. But in fact, you should be learning all your life. Learning is the best and nicest thing if you're l- moving in the direction that you like doing. And you would not believe me how fast you can learn when you have good sleep, when you have good exercise, when you eat good, and when you have a desire to move towards your purpose, towards whatever you like doing, where you most effective. You learn x10, x20, x50. In my story, I'll tell you a small part of it. When I moved to Maui, after my first mystical experience, I moved to Maui. I quit I quit lying to myself, and I sold a share in my business, in the restaurant business. And me and my wife came to Maui, and I promised myself that I would not touch anything that I didn't like doing. And when I found what I like doing, I could learn anything, literally. I never knew before that programming, design, electrical designs. I could do my own microchips in house, and I learned so much stuff within like couple weeks. It felt like a couple weeks felt like several years in school. So our brain power is is like on on nitro, turbo, whatever you call it. It's you have a rocket fuel inside of yourself. So learning when you moving towards your purpose is the most enjoyable thing. You won't be able to stop yourself from learning, but you have to keep doing as well. So don't overdo it as well. It has to be everything has to be in balance. So these four things, uh knowing how to do them correctly, they prepare your body, because your body is your vessel. So once your vessel has a good habits, good sleep, good food, and you exercise your brain to learn, your spirit can make all your dreams, all your soul desires, all your whatever lessons you come here to accomplish. All this can be done in a pleasant manner, without suffering, without stresses, without depressions. Because depressions is all those words, you can find them only in civilization, and this is a protecting mechanism for the people to end their life in that vessel, because it's not fulfilling the purpose. That's how it works. It's like, you come here for some purpose, and you see that it's not useful, so you're like, okay, let me find the reset buttons. People go into depression, and it goes into physical illnesses, and the physical illnesses, they lead to death, so the soul can get the hell out of that body and just start from scratch in a new body. That's how it works. Everything is simple. The invisible makes influences the physical, not vice versa. Next, good movie life requires that everyone knows their role. Actually, partially, I already mentioned that. So imagine the soul is the director in your movie of life. It directs all, basically, it directs everything. The spirit is the producer. It makes things happen, producer, production manager, and the body is the actor. And every role has to know its role and has to be ready, and every role has to work with each other, otherwise there is no movie. Your movie is going to be some kind of nightmare movie, or it's going to be a horror movie. I'm telling you, it's going to be a horror movie if you don't get in sync with all, with your soul, with your spirit, and your body cannot understand how to be able to contain the spirit and the soul inside of yourself and act. So all three is required: director, producer, and actor. Uh, that next, I think I've pretty much covered everything. Let me see. Yes, that's the house. That's the house that I had in my life. So appreciate appreciate you for your attention, that you're here with me. I hope this was useful. I wish this would be presented to me when I was 25, or at least 33, uh, uh, thank you for your attention, and I'll see you in the next presentation. I have a bunch of them in my mind that I would like to get them out. I would like to be useful. And I think one of the subjects that I did not cover, but I'm going to probably cover in the next presentation, is the subject of the creator. It's very important to understand the creation and the cosmic laws, because sooner or later you're gonna start asking questions beyond the physical world, and if you don't have logical or like answers that make sense, uh, the mind gets lost. Been there, done that. Again, this is all my experience. This is all my experience that led me to my dream life, beginning of my dream life. But the beginning is already, the big beginning. The place that I'm sitting right now in, I built it 1.5 years ago. This is my dream workshop, the Light Forge, that was gifted to me by the higher forces from above, literally, with $50,000. And this was a act of God that changed my understanding of the whole universe, that I proved to myself. I became not a believer but knower, that things that I proved to myself, that things that I'm doing, they are actually working, and the things that I was asking for, they're working too. And you will notice that that's another very important thing. You will notice in your life, once you get to a point where you start syncing your three elements, the physical body, the soul, and the spirit, you will start seeing mystical things happening in your reality. People call, again, I'm going to repeat myself, but people call them luck. But this luck is going to be controlled by you, by your actions, by your intentions. Luck is something that is, it's like help from above, but the help is only there when you do start stuff on your own and you're moving in the right direction. So you playing your role, you fulfilling your purpose, and for that purpose you are being granted the life that you want. Let me give you a very interesting comparison, maybe explanation of the purpose that actually helped me. Imagine that the let's take a purpose of a purpose of hand. So imagine that the hand is born, as part of the body, and the hand gets a free will. So the hand gets a free will, and it's like, I don't want to be, let me try to be a leg. And it starts living like a leg. Uh, so it starts fulfilling the purpose for the body of being a hand, but it's not effective as a leg. Plus, I already have legs. So the body does not help the hand being a leg because it wants it to be a hand, because that's what its purpose, that's how it was shaped, that's how it was formed in the image of hand, with the function of hand, with with fingers to actually act as a hand. And the body is not going to be helping or like moving. That's about moving with the flow. The hand is moving against the flow, and nothing is helping it. In fact, the body will always be trying to tell the hand that it's a hand. It will try to tell the hand through various lessons, and the hand will be suffering and telling, you know what, I want to be a leg, until the moment that the hand either dies as a leg from illness because it never becomes a hand, or it realizes that somehow somebody is trying to tell me that, I think I should be a hand. And once the hand starts to learn being a hand, the body will be happy, and it starts to teach and guide the hand into being a hand. It starts to, the body starts to benefit greatly from having a second hand, and it starts to take care of it. It starts to love it. So that's how the, you know, things work in the universe. When you're fulfilling the purpose, you're getting uh, benefits from the architect of this creation, because by fulfilling your purpose, you're actually helping the grand master plan of the game that was created by somebody. Your body is grandmaster plan, and you have like a goal, right? And then you go somewhere and you want to use the hand, but like you want to fulfill the grandmaster plan of you going into the store, and your leg says, you know what, I want to have a free will. Let me try to be, today a nose. So you're not helping. You're gonna tell your leg that it's not helping. So the same happens with our existence. I mean, it's pretty. Uh, the example is very, I hope, very simple. And the fact that I have noticed it working the way that I'm explaining, that's the main thing I want to relay to you. The synchronicity of the three bodies start fruiting and start giving you results, and start the indications in life start to appear pretty fast once you realize that you're moving in the right direction. And one of the my purpose, one of the reasons I'm recording this is actually not this is the second reason I'm recording this is actually my purpose is to give purpose, is to explain the purpose. And that's how I've been helping people in guiding them through spiritual journeys and being a life coach. You see, the purpose is a big question. It's not the only question, but uh, my purpose is to answer the question of purpose and to help humans find purpose. And not only I explain that in a very unique way, as I've been commented and told by people, but also the my company that I created in 2016. It turned out, I found that out only about a year ago, that even the company that I'm doing and the stuff, the crafts that I'm doing, the light and the light portals, they're actually a part of that purpose, which is to give purpose, and which are the tools which allow people to get connected with their soul, to introspect, to do contemplation. Because for me, one of the hardest parts when I moved to Maui was to learn to focus. So the things, the endowments of light that they create, they are made to keep the focus in the moment, which allows the human to do very effective introspection, because the light portals are made using the patterns of nature. Even the light is made in a very certain interesting patterns that allow you to keep your attention uh, introspecting and researching your inner self. But that's separate subject. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for being with me. I'll see you in the next presentation.